Unit 731 was a covert biological and chemical warfare research and development unit of the Imperial Japanese Army during World War II. The unit conducted horrific experiments on prisoners of war, civilians, and other human subjects in order to develop biological and chemical weapons for use in the war. The activities of Unit 731 were kept secret for many years after the war, but they have since been exposed and widely condemned as some of the most egregious war crimes of the 20th century. Unit 731 was established in 1935 in the city of Harbin, which was then part of the puppet state of Manchukuo in northeastern China. The unit was commanded by Lieutenant General Ashi Shiro, who had been tasked with developing new weapons that would give Japan an advantage in the war. The unit's work was conducted in secret, and its members were instructed not to discuss their activities with anyone. The experiments conducted by Unit 731 were some of the most barbaric and inhumane in history. Prisoners were subjected to a wide range of tests, including exposure to deadly diseases, vivisection, dissection of living organisms, and other forms of torture. Many of the victims were Chinese civilians, but there were also Korean and Russian prisoners of war, as well as Allied powers from the United States, Great Britain, and Australia. Some of the most notorious experiments conducted by Unit 731 involved the development of biological weapons. The unit's researchers infected prisoners with diseases such as bubonic plague, cholera, and anthrax, and then observed the progression of the disease in the human body. They also attempted to develop a new strain of the bubonic plague that would be resistant to antibiotics. In addition to biological weapons, Unit 731 also conducted research into chemical weapons. The unit's scientists tested a variety of deadly gases and poisons on human subjects, including mustard gas, phosgene, and hydrogen cyanide. They also developed a new chemical weapon called Unit 731 Liquid, which was a combination of several toxic chemicals. The atrocities committed by Unit 731 were finally exposed at the end of World War II. When Allied forces captured Harbin in 1945, they discovered evidence of the unit's activities, including hundreds of human remains and detailed records of the experiments. However, in exchange for their data, the United States government provided immunity to the senior officials of Unit 731 from war crimes prosecution. This was part of a broader effort to acquire the biological and chemical warfare information collected by the Japanese during World War II for future use in the Cold War against the Soviet Union. Despite the magnitude of the crimes committed by Unit 731, relatively few of its members were brought to justice. Ashi Shiro and many other senior officials of the unit were granted immunity by the United States in exchange for the data they provided. The few who were tried were given lenient sentences or released without punishment, and some even went on to hold important positions in post-war Japanese society. This lack of justice for the victims of Unit 731 remains a source of anger and resentment in China and other countries that were affected by the unit's activities. In conclusion, Unit 731 was a horrific example of the lengths to which human beings can go in the pursuit of scientific knowledge and military superiority. The atrocities committed by the unit were some of the most egregious war crimes of the 20th century, and the fact that many of those responsible were never held accountable remains a stain on the history of both Japan and the United States. It is important that we remember the victims of Unit 731 and strive to ensure that such atrocities are never repeated.